Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
Are we live?
We are live.
We are live.
In living color.
Sister Michelle, are you?
I'm frozen.
Michelle's frozen.
I think I'm
She's going to
frozen. It
freeze.
feels like I'm frozen.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
you're
Kind of
frozen.
coming back. Let's
I
begin, family.
I have no idea if I'm doing the robot or not.
But we can hear you though,
So
loud and clear.
if you all can hear me, welcome in Thursday Night Talks. We are here for another Thursday with an amazing show that we have. You'll just see just a minute. Just kind of hold on and hang on. It's coming. It's a good show tonight. So, like I do every Thursday, I always mention that you should please do what? Sister Kalila, what do they need to do? Let me pop that up.
It doesn't cost anything to share.
Like
And subscribe, make sure that more
like,
people
share, and subscribe. Thank you. There we go. Absolutely.
This is Michelle's experiencing a
We
lag.
want to make sure we're sharing with the community. I feel like I'm over talking someone.
You are talking over someone.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You take it over, Brother Tony, since I'm in the lag.
Okay, well, I hand it over to Sister Kalila.
All right. So, first of all, in the most holy name of Allah, always bearing witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger, I would like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. And to my Christian family, hallelujah. Thank you. We
Praise
want
the
to
Lord.
welcome you all to Thursday Night Talks with the 7th Region Coalition, where we are what? We are always saving lives. So, with that being said, again, like Sister Michelle said in the Matrix, please like and share. We definitely need your support. And if you think that this information is important for your family and your community,
And it is important, Sister Kalila.
And it is. And
we're dealing with the education of our children and who is teaching them. And we want people who are responsible teaching our children, and there are responsible people. There are good people out there teaching our children. But, this system right here, it's the way that it's operating, it needs to go.
Absolutely.
So we need a whole new educational paradigm. We're going to be discussing those kind of topics here tonight.
Absolutely, Brother Tony. And without further ado, I would like to actually introduce my co-host. I have my dear sister. Oh my God, always just a beautiful spirit and very kindling spirit. I have Sister Felicia Muhammad, our
Alaikum.
co-host. Amistad. Am I saying it right?
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Yamaste. See, my sister.
Did
And
you
I
say
have
Amistad? Did you say
listen,
Amistad, Sister Kalila?
Amistad, Amaste.
I'm
She
starting in
knows.
Spanish means friend, but
Friend, that's my friend. Okay,
right,
that's my
amistad,
friend.
amistad.
Amistad. Amistad.
I was like,
Okay.
I thought you were like you were like using some kind of language I've never heard before.
Listen, you know, listen,
Amistad,
y'all know I'm
tu
Oh,
hermana.
listen, y'all know I'm country. And listen,
I got to teach
on
y'all Spanish.
listen, and on my right, which is my left,
Really, your
but it's
left,
really my left, but it's my
right?
right. Okay. And I have this is my hierarchy. This is actually the regional protocol director of the 7th region, as well as my dear brother and my dear friend, Brother Philip Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And Brother Tony, as you all know, is always wearing 1,000 hats. One of those hats being one of my long and shoot, like my right and left hand in this thing. Anytime I ask for something, I always say, Brother Tony, I need it, I need it, I need it. He was like, stand by, stand by.
I do
So
that with you, and I try to be like that with my student regional minister as well.
praises be to Allah. And this is our co-host with this. These are all our hosts for the 7th Region Coalition, where we are constantly helping save lives. And I'm going to actually turn the show over to my dearest brother, Brother Tony, to take us farther into the show.
All praise is due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God to whom holy praises are forever due, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the Supreme Being to whom holy praises are forever due. I am forever thankful to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the eternal leader of the nation of Islam, the exalted Christ, and now Mahdi. And I further bear witness, and I'm thankful to Allah for not leaving us alone and preparing one for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to continue this mighty work called the resurrection of the mentally and spiritually dead. And
That's
that is
right.
our condition, and we're working to get out of that condition for people. But I thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because
That's right.
without him, we wouldn't be here right now, and we wouldn't have anything of substance to say.
Come on.
In their divine names, I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Which
alaikum
means
salam.
unto you, buenos dias, sakpase, abaragani, assalamu alaikum. Beloved family, it all means peace be unto you and greetings. Welcome to Thursday Night Talks, which is headed up by the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. The 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled by our student regional minister here in the 7th Region, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, who assembled us soon after the criterion message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan after July 4th, 2020. And we were assembled together to warn our people and inform our people about, I can't even call it a vaccine. It was really an experiment
Right.
that they attempted to perform, and they have been performing in our people. But the work doesn't stop there. We're on a mission to help save lives. And now through the various ministries, the 9 ministries set up by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan soon after, well, really in the midst of the 2005 Millions More movement. And so the ministry that we'll be focusing on here tonight is the Ministry of Education, which is responsible for the mental and moral development of the members of the society by means of formal instruction in a prescribed manner over a prescribed period of time in a system of learning ranging from preschool through primary through advanced academic levels, culminating in the conferring of academic degrees under the direction of a National Board of Education. In addition to academic instruction, students shall receive teaching and training in the way of righteous conduct, decency, and self respect with the goal of making a better nation of people. And so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been advocating for our re education and retraining, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did and has. And that's what we are doing here tonight and in all of our broadcasts as we're seeking to re educate and really transform our people through the spreading of knowledge. Sister Kalila, I give it over to Brother Philip at this time, who will be introducing our special guest here tonight.
Yes, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bonjour, bonsoir, wherever you are. Assalamu alaikum. And Ramadan Mubarak to all of our viewers out there. And to my wonderful co-host. All right, how y'all doing up there? To my right, my left, all that. All right, y'all. We have an extraordinary show this evening. We are honored and blessed with the presence of one of our own. And let me just tell you a little bit about him, then I give a personal reflection, okay? So
Yes,
we
sir.
have this evening as our special guest, Student Minister Abdul Muhammad, who joined the Nation of Islam in 1990 during his freshman year of college at Southern University and A&M in Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and has been an award-winning, sought-after educator and public speaker. As a teacher, he was nominated and won the Teacher of the Year award for the city of Chicago. He's also been featured in Who's Who among American high school teachers 4 times. 4 times. Furthermore, he was twice nominated for the prestigious Golden Apple Award. He served as a high school principal in Chicago. And as a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Student Minister Abdul has developed into a powerful speaker with the uncanny ability to reach the hearts and minds of young people. He has a bachelor's degree in secondary education and a master's degree in educational leadership. And in the heart of this brother, one time, I don't even know if he remembers this, but at Savior's Day, I think it was 2018 or 17, I lost my national off of my lapel. And I was looking for a national around. And the brother said, look, come on over here. I'm going to show you somebody. I don't have any more. I asked him at his booth. I don't have any more. And then he said, I'm going to take you to a brother who does. And he took me to the brother, and I realized I did not have any cash in my wallet. Brother Abdul opened up his wallet and he said, here, brother, I'm going to buy you 2 nationals, one for you and one for you to give to somebody. That's the kind of heart of this brother right here. I don't even know if he remembers that story. But brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies, we invite now
because
to
they are
come on the
tuning
screen
on.
our dear brother, Minister Abdul Muhammad.
Praises be to Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Brother, I did not remember that story until you just told it. But when you told it, now I do remember that. I remember that. So all praise is due to Allah.
Praises be to Allah. Well,
Yes,
this is
sir.
going to be
All
a
praises
very
are due to Allah.
this is going to be a very, very key and very focused show, because we definitely want to get down to the bottom line in regards to freedom, justice, and equality.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, we just want to get started just right away. The first thing I want to know, who is the man that is taking a stance for justice? Who is Brother Abdul? How did we get here at this point?
So how did we get here at this point, sister? That's a great question. Who is Brother Abdul? I'm a student First of all, assalamu alaikum to your listeners. Assalamu alaikum to you all, and Ramadan Mubarak. And if I didn't say it, I want to say it right now. Thank you all for the invitation.
Yes,
and
sir.
thank you for having me on the show. And I want to thank your viewers for tuning in to this most important show, which is dealing with the education of our people. So you asked the question, who is Brother Abdul Muhammad? I am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I decided to become an educator and take the light that we receive from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan into the darkness of what is called public education. And so, you know, when Allah chooses you, as he's chosen us as a people, and he's chosen us in our fields of endeavor, and all of us who came in the nation, either you were sent by the enemy, right? And we know you're here,
right?
Or you were chosen by God to help in the mission of the resurrection of the dead. So as a young person, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to college, like most of the young people. I had no idea. But in coming in the nation, and this is what has the enemy so angry, because if I was a Negro educator, I wouldn't even be having an issue right now. But in coming in the nation and accepting the truth of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, when I walked in the door of the public school system, I was a target from day one, and I'm just being real, you know. And now I'm back, and so now it's all kind of in perspective.
Yeah.
As I look back, and I'm going to take you all back. I haven't said this publicly on any platform.
Come on,
but I'm saying it here. I'm taking you all the way back to the beginning. As a student teacher, at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. As a student teacher, you know, when you student teach, you know, the students love you because you're the student teacher, right?
Right.
But as a student teacher, this is a true story. I had to, they had a teacher talent show. And at the school, I was at Capitol High School, which is the hood school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So I was doing my student teaching there. And I found out that there was a teacher talent show. And y'all, I'm 20-something years old. I'm a senior in college, right? And so I'm rapping, right? And so I said, I'm gonna be in a teacher talent show. And you know, I took the Scarface beat. It was Ghetto Boys. I cannot remember the name of the song. When they
playing tricks on
where,
me.
No, my mind's playing tricks on me.
Mine's playing tricks on me. I got the instrumental. Thank you, my brother. See, that's a hip hop head right there. He knew what I was thinking about.
Right.
I got the instrumental for Mine's Playing Tricks on Me, right? And I did this conscious rap. I don't know. Don't ask me to spit it because I don't remember. I know Tony might ask me that. So I wrote this conscious rap to the instrumental, Mine's Playing Tricks on Me. And on the stage, I built a effigy of a Ku Klux Klan member. Now y'all gotta understand, I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, right?
You did that in Baton Rouge.
I built a Ku Klux Klan effigy and it's on the stage. I got these conscious rap lyrics. I'm saying the rap. The students are going crazy. And in the middle of the performance, now this is a true story. In the middle of the performance, I kicked the Ku Klux Klan effigy and all the students go crazy. And I have these Malcolm X buttons and I'm throwing them out in the crowd, right? Now, I thought I could just do it's an all black school in Louisiana. I thought I could just do my rap and do my Ku Klux Klan effigy. And I got video. There's a video somewhere. I have the video, right? A VHS tape, true story. When I did that performance and those students reacted the way they did, I didn't understand where I was at. I didn't understand that I was in the killing fields of the enemy, and that because I did something to try to raise the consciousness of these children, that I would become a target. Now I'm 26 years old. I'm still in college, right? So the white teachers at Capitol High School, they lost their minds, right? They called up, this is the truth, they lost their minds. They called Southern University and wanted me kicked out of the program.
Oh, wow.
For doing a rap song, right? So I had to go through all of this drama. And brothers and sisters, I wasn't even like, this was not in the forefront of my mind until I started going through what I'm going through right now. And I'm going back in my mind and try to see, when did it all start, right? It all started when I became a registered Muslim in the Nation of Islam. But the teachers, the white teachers, tried to get me kicked out of the program so that I could not graduate with a degree in education. But long story short, I stayed in the program. I wasn't kicked out. I forgot what they did. They was like, man, this Negro can't come back. Just give him his degree. Something happened. I don't remember the exact details. And I'm only saying that because to me, that was like a sign of what the future would hold that I did not understand as a young person. So, sister, to ask who I am, I'm an educator. I'm a person. I'm a brother who loves our people, loves our children, who has been educating our children since the day that I graduated from college. So my entire adult life has been dedicated to the education of Black children. But I would not be able to give them a proper education if I did not have the teachings that I was given by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that cleaned me up and put something in my mind that was better than what was being offered by my college or by the public school system. And that is why I'm not a quote unquote regular educator, but Allah has blessed me to be a great educator because I've been blessed to give the children what they absolutely need. And that's the knowledge of self.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So with that being said, and you touched on it a little bit, so if you can go a little deeper,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
inspired
Absolutely.
you to become an educator, particularly within the Black community?
So thank you for that question. My mother always said, boy, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher. Now, Brother Tony may not know this, but like as a high school student, I gave my teachers a very hard time. If any of them knew that I became a teacher, they'd fall out, right? So, but my mother would always say, you should be a teacher. And you know how we are. We're not listening. At a certain point, like 15, 16, if mama said we doing the opposite, right?
Doing the opposite.
So when I went to college, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was young. I was like most of us, I was confused. So I just said that I'm majoring in business management because, when you talk to a girl, it's a Black college, right? You can't be like, she asked you, well, what you majoring in? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't cool. So I said I was gonna major in business management only for that reason. And shortly after I arrived at Southern, I came to my first mosque meeting and joined the Nation of Islam. And when I was at Southern and after I joined the nation, the brother who was the minister there, Brother Abdul Rashid Muhammad, he asked me one Sunday, he said, brother, would you like to teach this Sunday? I said, yes, sir. So when I went up there and started teaching, I enjoyed it. And then, months later, I said, I'm going to change my major from business management, which was bogus, to education, which was real.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't know at that time that education would be my absolute passion, but education is my absolute passion. And, sister, you asked, about educating in the Black community. So when God wants to manifest his power, right?
Come on now.
When God wants to prove his presence, he doesn't prove his presence and manifest his power by going to the place where everything is okay, right? When God wants to prove his presence and manifest his power, he chooses the place that is the worst in order to manifest his power. So
come on, beloved.
The reason that I decided to dedicate my life to Black people and Black children is because our people are in the worst condition of any people. And my brother Tony can bear me witness. When you go and teach Black children, they are at zero. They may be in the negative range. You ask, well, do they know anything about something? They don't know. The slate is clean. If a rapper didn't say it in the last 6 months, then they don't know that it even happened. If it's not trending on social media,
No.
it's not real. So when you go in to teach, you have to start from ground zero. So now so to prove God's presence, I decided to dedicate my life to the education of Black children. And everywhere that I've gone in the so-called worst environments, God, Allah, has blessed me to transform those environments from the worst and make them the best by His grace.
Praises be to Allah.
Wow.
Well, Brother Abdul, why is this fight for justice so important to you? And why should it be important for others?
So, sister, it's important to me because, as I said, I dedicated my life to our children. I live, as Brother read in the beginning, on the purpose of the ministry of education. I live my life by certain principles to be the best example that I possibly could be for Black children, right? So when I came to school in a suit and bow tie every day. Now you may say, well, yeah, of course you did that as a principal because you're the principal. No, I did that as a teacher. In the schools where I was teaching, when visitors would come and I would be in my suit and bow tie, they would think I was the principal. I'd be like, no, I'm not the principal. I just teach here, right? Why? And the students would ask me, Mr. Muhammad, why do you wear a suit and a tie every day? And you know, no good teacher is just gonna answer the question. No, not answering the question, gonna make you think. So then I would answer their question by asking the question. And I would say, when there's something important, if you have to go to a wedding, how do you dress? Well, if I'm going to a wedding, I dress in a suit. Well, why do you dress in a suit at a wedding? I'm asking them these questions. I dress in a suit because it's important. If it's a funeral, if somebody dies, your man gets shot. We in Chicago, it happens, right? Your man gets shot. You wearing a suit. Why are you wearing a suit? Well, I'm wearing a suit or I'm dressing up because it's important. Now I'm teaching high school students. When prom is right around the corner. How you gonna dress at prom? Well, Muhammad, you know, I'm gonna wear proms. You know, I'm gonna have this. You know, why are you gonna dress like that at prom? Because prom is important, right?
Mom.
If you go to court and you know you going in front of the judge and this judge has the ability to sentence you, how are you gonna dress? I'm dressing up because maybe if I dress up, then I'll get some sympathy and mercy from the judge. And this court date is what? It's important. So then after I asked them the series of questions, I never gave them the answer. No real teacher does that. Then I asked them, what is more important than educating Black children? And then they have their answer of why I wear a suit every day. You understand? So the education of Black children is the most important thing that we can be involved in because, and when I say black, brown, all of our people need a proper and true education. And this is the most important thing that we can be involved in because what we do today is really going to determine how the future looks. And it starts with the education of our children. That's where it starts. So that's why I've dedicated my life. That's why it's so important. So this fight for justice, why would I fight? One is because I can't even tell you, brothers and sisters, the number of lies that were told on me, right? I counted 83. It's probably more than 83, right?
Wow.
But even before, so the threat of us, and when I say us, I'm talking about followers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Just our presence threatens white supremacy.
That's right.
And I'll just share this with you. When I've taught for 25 years in Chicago, like I said, in some of the worst environments. And when I came to this school in 2022 called Lynn Bloom High School, I didn't even come to the school. Let me take that back. When I applied to be the principal and my name was on a piece of paper, Abdul Muhammad's name is on a piece of paper. the people in Chicago, the Chicago public school officials, started to lose their mind just because my name was on a sheet of paper.
Mm.
When I went for the interview, they were upset that my name was on a piece of paper. So they tried to stop the people from even interviewing me. Now, I didn't know this. I found all of this out later. When they interviewed me and they actually made me a finalist, then the Chicago public school officials got more upset. You should ask the question, why would your name being on a sheet of paper cause these people in downtown Chicago to get so upset that they tried to derail the process of a principal getting hired for the school?
Mm.
Then, when you got interviewed for a job, why would these people be calling the local school council? That's the group that interviews and hires the principal, and getting them to try not to, like, what is it? Then once this person is hired, right, and I just walk to the door, everybody loses their mind. Like, so when you say, why is this fight for justice so important?
Come on.
The fight is so important because it's justice for Abdul Muhammad, but it's really justice for all people named Muhammad, because as Muslims, we shouldn't be targeted because of our religion.
That's right.
We shouldn't be targeted and prevented opportunities because we follow the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
Which is what happened in this particular case. So you had people saying, well, you know, the Southern Poverty Law Center says that they're haters and they're racist. This is before I wasn't even at the school yet. So this should not happen to any Muslim follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
So if I don't fight for what happened to me as a follower, it's just like with Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali fought and won, then everybody that came behind Muhammad Ali, who carried the name Muhammad, who said that I'm not going to fight in unjust wars that take the lives of human beings, they all benefited. And not just Muhammad Ali and those named Muhammad, but anyone that said that they did not want to fight in an unjust war, they all benefited. So this is that similar fight. I can't lay down when you targeted me because of my religion after 25 years of stellar work in Chicago, transforming the lives of Black children. I can't lay down. I won't lay down. You know, the Holy Quran says, and I should have started with this. The Holy Quran says, fight with those who fight with you.
Facts.
The Holy Quran says, fight with them until there's no more fighting left. So what does that mean? That means somebody got to be the winner. You know what I'm saying? If we want to fight until there's no more fighting, then that means we have to fight until we're victorious. So the question is, why does Allah, as the Holy Quran says in this month of Ramadan, why does Allah say fighting is ordained for you, even though it is disliked by you? Why does he say that? Because fighting reveals who you really are.
Come on,
everybody thinks they tough, right? Like Mike Tyson said, till you get busted in the mouth. So it's like, it's easy to say what you're gonna do. It's easy to say that you're a fighter. It's easy to say that you're gonna fight for the nation and fight for Islam. We're fighting for our own and we'll surely win, until the fight actually comes. And then you lay down. So fighting shows you who you really are. Are you really a believer?
Come on.
It's not just like, it could be a physical fight. So if somebody come up to you and they talking crazy and they lay hands on you, then you should fight them until there's no fighting left. Now, I'm not going to explain what that means. You should understand what that means.
Right.
So,
right.
Because they had no business touching you. Y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
But every fight is not going to be a physical fight.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So when you turn on the television and there's stupidity 24/7 on TV, now you got to fight against that.
Right.
What does that mean? You punch the TV? I ain't no punk, and you punch the TV. That's not how you fight against that.
Right. Right.
You fight against that by removing or limiting, because if your children, and I'm telling y'all as parents, if you sit your children in front of television, you're doing them a disservice. As
Mm.
Muslim parents, your child's name is Abdul, Malik, right? Kareem, all these great names that you gave him, right? And you sat him in front of TV and there's two men kissing on TV.
My God.
Like, what are we talking about? So that's a fight. That's not a physical fight, but it's still a fight. But
Right.
if we don't have the will or the desire to fight like that, then Satan is going to have our children, right?
Right.
If we don't have the will or desire to fight in other ways, then Satan is going to be victorious. It's always not going to be a physical fight. So this is not a physical fight, but it is in fact a fight. And I intend to fight until there's no fighting left. So I hope I answered your question.
You did.
All praise.
Mr. Abdul, just going a little bit further, from my understanding, the whole situation was that you were brought in as the principal.
Yes, sir.
Of a school, and there was corruption that was taking place, which
Absolutely.
was also taking place in other Chicago public schools. And because you were trying to make things right, you became the target of several white teachers.
I just want to jump in and say I didn't become the target. I was already the target.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So I didn't. So because I discovered corruption, I didn't become the target because of that. When at the very beginning, Abdul Muhammad's name being on the sheet of paper,
That's
Yes,
what
sir.
he said.
I
Yeah.
became a target then. You understand?
Right.
So when we got to the corruption, see what the way that they played it is that they wanted to blame me for whatever was wrong with the school. Well, I'm the new principal. I just walked in the door. And you know, if you knew somewhere, you don't like nobody. People don't come to you on the first day with a list of everything that's wrong.
Right.
This is a list of everything that's wrong in the school, right? And then you go about correcting it. You know, as you get into your role, things reveal themselves, right?
Right.
And what the officials in Chicago, the Chicago public school officials wanted to do is they wanted things to happen in the school so that they could try to use that against me. But you know, as you all know, Allah's God, right?
Right.
And so everything that happened, Allah blessed me to be able to see it and correct it. And so that's how we got to what you're talking about, Brother Tony,
Yes,
where
sir.
you had teachers, white teachers stealing black folks' money by the thousands of dollars. But that's how we got to that. And see, had I not corrected it, then they would have tried to use that and use that against me. You follow what I'm saying? But Allah blessed me, find it and correct it. Yeah, so they had a whole plan that, you know, they hatched against your brother. And which, you know, is too much to say on this one particular podcast.
Right.
But you know, Allah's God, and Allah's going to bless me with the victory. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan already told me that I was going to be victorious when I met with him on June 19th. And I got to say this, he said, Brother Abdul, Allah is going to clear me of all the false charges, just like he's going to clear you. So he's already told me that I'm going to be victorious. But you can't be victorious if you don't fight.
That's right. That's right.
You're on mute, Brother Philip. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
I apologize. Thank you so much. Holy Quran, Surah 51, Ayah 55, and remind the believers, for surely the reminder benefits the believers. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome so much.
So, Brother Abdul, you mentioned some of the challenges that you face throughout your sojourn, but what are some of the educational beliefs that you've had and advocated for that have become challenges in your journey to educate our children, and how have you overcome those? You know, some of the things that you brought into the classroom or into the system that you believe is good for us, and then you become, you know, antagonized for those things. What are some of those things that you tried to bring in that were a problem?
Well, brother, I'll say that's a great question. I'll say this: any black, so in education, there's like a pecking order, and I'm sure my brother Tony can bear witness to this. in education, there's a pecking order. And at the end of that pecking order is the straight black man. If my name was Abdul Muhammad and I wore lipstick and a dress, and I was the first LGBT Muslim principal at Lindblom,
My God.
I would be celebrated.
You would be sold.
I would be on the cover. I would be on the Chicago Public Schools website. I would be on the cover of the Sun Times, the Tribune, not the Final Call.
All right.
the educational magazines, right? The reason is because if I came in front of black children like that, that reinforces white supremacy.
Right.
But when I come in front of black children as Abdul Muhammad and not bowing down to any of that, then just my presence becomes a threat to white supremacy. And it's not just me, it's any educator. So I don't want you all to think, or your listeners to think, oh, well, they targeted you only because your name's Abdul Muhammad. No, let me break it down. If you're black and you're working on behalf of black children, you have a target on your back, right? Every black educator that's truly working on behalf of black children, there's a target on your back. If you're a black male educator working on behalf of black children because you're a black man, your target gets bigger. If you're a black educator and you're working on behalf of black children and you're at the same time raising their consciousness with the knowledge of self, the target gets bigger. If you're a black educator and you don't bow down to white supremacy and you're giving the students the knowledge of self and your name is Abdul Muhammad, so now you got the biggest target on your back. So that's just the reality of education. So it's not just, oh, I'm the only one. Absolutely not. Black educators around the country who are really in the schools trying to make changes for black children are all being targeted because the system that we work in is a system that's rooted in white supremacy. I'll give you some examples of me personally. Every school that I've gone to, if you could talk to my students, they would tell you how they love Mr. Muhammad. Oh, the only reason I'm coming to school is to come to your class. I learn more in your class than I learn in any other class. All of that, all the accolades, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think that the white teachers would be like, man, this brother, you would think but absolutely not. It don't work like that because they really do not want black children educated. They really just want black children to be warehoused in this public school system. They really don't want them educated, right? So for example, when I was a teacher, I would give my students, and I'm giving this game to all the educators, I would give my students a Black history fact every day. I would start my class with a Black history fact. How did you get to that, Brother Abdul? I didn't come up with that. I was teaching my class one day and I asked my students, I said, well, what can I do better? What can I do better as a teacher? I'm trying to get feedback to see what I can do better. Right. And I asked them, well, what do y'all like and what can I do better? And this one young sister said, I wish I learned more about Black history. I said, what? My heart was broken, right? Because I have a Black child in front of me.
Wow.
I'm Nation of Islam, suit and bow tie. I got a Black child in front of me.
Yes, sir.
Saying, I wish I learned more about Black history. My heart was destroyed. I realized I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
So I said to myself, next year, because that was the end of the year, I said, next year, I'm going to give my students a Black history fact every day at the beginning of the class. So I started giving my students this one thing. Now, I've done a lot of things in education. For all the educators, this one thing that I did revolutionized everything that I did. I've done a lot of things. But this right here, because I gave them the knowledge of self, so it completely changed how they thought about themselves. It completely changed their thought about education. Rather than hating school, they wanted to come to school, or at least they wanted to come to my class, right? So now you would think, oh man, this man is giving these children Black history, right? Like brothers and sisters, I'm not in Alabama, right? I'm not in Louisiana again.
Not in Florida.
I'm not in Texas. I'm in Chicago with these so-called liberal white people who wear Black Lives Matter t-shirts but getting mad at a black man who's actually teaching black children black history. Long before, what is it, Brother Tony? CRT. Long before CRT.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just going to pause right here to do my CRT public service announcement. For all the white people that's getting mad about CRT, you're getting mad at nothing. I've been in Chicago 25 years, and I never heard of CRT. Never had a professional development on it because they're not teaching the. You think they're in this school teaching the black children CRT? They're not teaching them anything. When I was at a school called Chicago Vocational, when the white teachers found out that I was giving my students a black history fact at the beginning of my class, they started to, instead of teaching their class, they would get the notebooks of the students that were in my class. And they would read, like this is how petty these white people were. These liberal white people who claim they're friends of black folks. They would get the notebook from my class and read it instead of teaching their class, and then say to the black children, what Mr. Muhammad is teaching is a bunch of BS.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about liberal white folks in Chicago. We're talking about CTU members wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. So, but now, they never came to me. So my students came to me. They said, Mr. Muhammad, they saying, what you teaching is a bunch of BS. So, I heard this and heard it and heard it. I'm trying to be patient with white folks. And one day I was like, man, I'm done. I didn't go ride on nobody. Let me finish the story. I went to the teacher. I did what we're taught. What we teach is if somebody brings you something, bring everybody together. The Honorable Minister Lewis Farrakhan said, the quickest way to manifest the contradiction is to bring all the parties together.
Yeah.
We don't do he say, she say. We don't do that.
Right.
I'm not going to tell a child, well, tell that teacher. I'm not going to do that. So what did I do? I took the student with me to the teacher. Knocked on the teacher's door. I said, the student's name was Jeremy. I said, Jeremy said that you said that what I'm teaching is a bunch of BS. The teacher was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I turned to Jeremy like we're taught. I said, Jeremy, you said that he said that what I was teaching was a bunch of BS. And Jeremy was like, man, you did say that. You did say that. And then the white teacher just broke down. I did say it. I did say it. So then I went off on him a little bit. I did a little Dr. Khaled on him, And I was like, if you was a man, you would come tell me, but you're not a man, so you couldn't tell. Like, don't say I'm not a man. Don't say I'm not a man. I said, if you were a man, you would have come told me my room number. You know my room number. So, long story short, this white teacher, this liberal white teacher, right? CTU member, Black Lives Matter t-shirt wearer, wrote a 3-page letter to the principal saying either Mr. Muhammad goes or I go. What did Mr. Muhammad do? All Mr. Muhammad did was give black children the knowledge of self. And for that reason, I became a target. So, brother, I would say of all the things I've done, rooting our students in the knowledge of self is the greatest thing that I've done for our children. But
praise be to Allah. Thank you, my brother.
When you do that, you become a target. But again, like I said before, we have to be willing to fight. And if we can't fight for the education of our children, what can we fight for?
Right.
Brother Abdul, let me
word.
If I could describe some scenarios to you here in Florida right now, particularly here in Miami-Dade and also in the state capital, as it relates to Black education. And this is coming from someone who I redesigned the African American Voices curriculum back about 12 years ago. And things have quickly changed just in the past 2-3 years.
Right.
You have, mind you, the majority of people here in Miami-Dade County are Black or Latino. There were incidents in which white people would barge into school board meetings arguing that CRT or critical race theory was being taught in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. It seems like a similar scenario to other school boards, what they've experienced throughout the country. We've experienced children in classrooms arguing that they feel bad when the teacher teaches about Black history. And this seems to be a very common story throughout the country right now. So in the midst of all this, we're in a period right now in the state of Florida in particular, but not limited to Florida, experiencing in Texas and Arizona and in many other states, where deletions when it comes down to the teaching of Black history curriculums are taking place. You have Governor Ron DeSantis coming out publicly and saying that the Black History AP course could not be taught because I noticed that the first thing that he talked about was there's an agenda. Of course, it talks about transgender, gay issues being taught in that curriculum, but he mentioned that because a lot of Black folks are not cool with that being taught in the curriculum. So here we are experiencing a lot of alteration when it comes down to the curriculum, especially when it deals with the Black perspectives of history itself. What is this a sign of right now? And what should we do as educators, as parents, as conscientious folks, as people that are concerned about the education of our children? What is the sign, and what should we be doing right now?
So I'll start with the sign, brother. It's a sign. This is something that I don't think we're going to get past, because the country is so divided, right? And it's going to eventually lead to where Black people are going to have to make a decision if we want our children to remain in the public school system. That's where it's going to lead to, right? But you mentioned something earlier in your question about, white children feeling uncomfortable when Black history is taught. And, one of the things in me going through what I'm going through here in Chicago is that what I realized is white people's feelings are more important than Black people's lives. So in the situation in Miami, somebody feeling uncomfortable in a class is more important in the eyes of white people than Black children getting the knowledge of self and being able to use that knowledge to elevate their life. In my particular situation, even though I've gone in schools and transformed schools for the last 25 years and have saved the lives of Black children, but white people's feelings about a Muslim being a principal at this school is more important than Black people's actual lives. So that's something that we just got to get to grips with. And I'll give you one more example. When the brothers in the Nation of Islam, the FOI, were securing the projects all over the country, and crime and murder and drug dealing and all of that disappeared in the presence of the FOI, what happened? The FOI went in the community and were saving the lives of Black people. But white people's feelings were more important than Black people's lives. So they ended all of the contracts for the brothers, and the housing projects went back to what? Back to crime, back to violence, and back to drugs, because white people's feelings are more important than Black people's lives. Brother, in a recent conversation with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he told me, he said, some systems can be reformed. And then he said, but some systems are so corrupt and rotten to the core that they have to be destroyed.
My God.
And the question that we need to put before those who think they're in power is, do they want a system that's based on freedom, justice, and equality, where Black, brown, red, yellow, and white can all be properly educated? Or do they want the system that they've had for the last 100 years, the system that's rooted in white supremacy? And if that's the case, then we don't need to be a part of it. But now when we say we don't need to be a part of it, and white people will say, well, okay, well, that's fine, but I want us to change it. If we can't change the system where it benefits everybody, then we don't need to be a part of it, and we want to bring our money with us so we can build something new. We're not going to just take our children out and leave the hundreds of thousands of tax dollars that we pay into a system with you. No, we want our money with us so we can build something new and independent.
That part.
That part right there.
Yeah, that part. So with that being the case, Brother Abdul, in states like Florida, the standardized testing has tremendously increased. Yet it is found that some students are scoring their lowest in 30 years on the exam, such as the ACT. What's the problem with education?
There is no problem. I'll tell you right now, there is no problem in education. If the Black children in Miami-Dade or Chicago or Atlanta or Detroit or Los Angeles or Phoenix or Houston or Dallas or Philly, if the Black children tomorrow said in mass, said we're going to buckle down and we're going to make sure that we get great scores on the SAT, and then they buckled down and got great scores, you know what would happen? The same white people talking about, hey, you see how they failed this standardized test, and this means you can't get your funding and all this other. Those same white people would throw that test in the trash can. I'm telling you what would happen, because the purpose of the test was not to see what your proficiency was.
Right.
The purpose of the standardized test was to keep Black people out of white institutions. So that's the whole purpose of the test, was to keep somebody out. And how do you keep them out? I'm keeping you out not by, because now you got a law that says I can't discriminate against you, right?
Right.
I can't keep you out because you're Black. So now I got to keep you out because you can't be proficient on this standardized test. Well, wait, hold on, wait a minute. You mean to tell me these intelligent white people that we talking about know that for the last 150 years, Black people have received an inferior education? You mean they know that we've received an inferior education right there in Florida? But now all of a sudden, after 150 years of inferior education, they want to give you a test to see if you're equal with white folks? Come on, what are we talking about? They know you're not equal.
Yeah.
And they're giving you the test to justify what they want to do to you anyway, which is to keep you out, which is to relegate you. And if the Black children were successful tomorrow, they would throw the test in the trash can. So, standardized test is not the way to determine proficiency of any student, white, Black, it doesn't matter, but it's used against Black students. So I wouldn't give a lot of credit or credence to those standardized tests. But how do we know? How do we know that what I'm saying is true? Because when COVID came, what happened? The colleges stopped looking at standardized tests. I mean, I thought just yesterday, this was like the holy grail of education. And now all of a sudden COVID came.
Right.
And now the test don't mean that no more. What are we talking about? It never meant anything.
Come on.
You understand? Now, brothers and sisters, let me say, because I got to clarify, because I am an educator, right? And part of being an educator is understanding the game that we're involved in, right?
Right.
And it's not to say that Black students shouldn't try to achieve. I would never say that, because at every school that I ever worked at, we brought the test scores up at every school.
Yeah.
But the test score in and of itself is not the determining factor of the success of that Black child.
That's
It
right.
is not. And that's what we need to understand.
Got it. Yeah.
Brother Abdul, just very briefly, there's a growing issue in numerous middle schools, just in light of what Sister Felicia just said. Numerous middle schools today, there's an escalation in student violence.
Right.
And this happens right around test time.
Right.
Do you see a connection between the rise in testing requirements and the elimination of arts programs within schools?
Oh, absolutely.
And the rise of violence in schools?
Absolutely. I want to go back real quick on the testing. The There was a point that I wanted to make. It just escaped me, but it may come back. But you know, our children have test anxiety, right?
Right.
And so when there's test anxiety, then it could lead to more issues within a school, especially if at the same time as we're educating children, we're not giving them the tools to cope with the stresses of life. Life is going to bring you stress regardless, right?
Right.
There's always going to be stress, right?
Right.
There's when I talk to my students, I said there's positive stress and there's negative stress.
Mhm.
There's the stress you have when you're neglecting what you're supposed to be doing, and now you're stressed out because you're neglecting what you should have been doing, right?
Mhm.
And then there's the stress that comes with doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But either way, we have to teach students how to manage that stress. So
Right.
I absolutely know for a fact that there's anxiety around testing, but we have to give our children tools to deal with that. You know, we have to give our children tools to deal with one another. You know, what we noticed, and I'm sure you saw the same thing, Brother Tony, when we came back from COVID, all the schools were on fire. That means like fights and parents coming up to schools. Why? Because
they didn't know how to socialize with one another.
they never had an opportunity to socialize. That's one. And then they never had an opportunity to build relationships with the people that were in the schools.
Right.
Because I'm sure Brother Tony can walk in a class or walk in a section of the school, and because he's built relationships with students, if it's something brewing, he can quell that. But if you have a group of students who don't know who you are, then they can't even come to you so then they said, look, I got to handle this the old-fashioned way, right? So, but we have to give our children the tools to deal with all of these things. And the school is the place where those tools are given. I hope I answered your question. Was there another part that I missed?
No, you answered the question, brother.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. And so building on that, you know,
brother, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead, Sister Felicia.
yes, sir. So building on that, you know, former President Trump advocated teachers to be able to bring guns to school, right? And as Muslims, we don't do that. You know, we don't carry any weapons, nothing that's even a penknife, right? And so since you've been working in some of America's most dangerous schools, what advice can you give teachers who mean well, but a little scared of the students and have anxiety in the classroom, preventing them from connecting with the students?
You know, what would I tell a teacher? If you're afraid of a student,
come on.
Like, I don't know what to tell you if you're afraid of a child. Like,
right, for real.
You need to overcome your fear. That's part of the problem. You know, if you're afraid of children, you know, that's part of the problem. And you get that a lot in our schools. And what we see is a lot of times where teachers don't want to implement any discipline in the classroom. And the reason is because they're afraid of the children. And so now I have a certain personality, right? As a teacher, I have a certain personality.
Right.
But you don't have to have my personality in order to be effective with children. This is all you have to do when you're dealing with children. What is your expectation? You got to come up with this before they walk in the door. This is my expectation for learning in this classroom. You have to share that expectation. You have to communicate the expectation to the student. Now, you could do it like me. I'm theatrical, so you could, you know, like, or you don't have to be. That's not a requirement. What is required is that you have the expectations, that you communicate those expectations to the student, and that when the student violates the expectation, that there's a consequence. And if you do that from the first day of school to the last day of school, you will be successful. If you don't play favorites, you don't show favoritism, you treat everybody with freedom, justice, and equality, whether you're like me and you're, you know, I'm theatrical, right? I love what I do, right? You don't have to be like me. You could be however, but you raise the expectation, you communicate that expectation, then you live by the expectation. Then when they violate the expectation, then there has to be a consequence. And that has to be done fairly for all students. If you do that as a teacher, then you will be successful.
Thank you.
Beautiful answer.
Purpose. Yes.
Brother Philip.
You know, but before Brother Abdul, we were in the back room before the show started, man, and we were talking about your groundbreaking book, Going Ham, The Truth About Pork and its devastating effects on the health of people who eat it. What have you found to be the connection between diet and children's ability to learn, particularly as it relates to school cafeterias and menus? And how can there be a greater effort to improve the diet of young people in the schools to improve their quality of life through education?
So Brother Tony is laughing because you said cafeteria. Man, these children not eating
Prison food,
cafeteria.
beloved.
They bring in flaming hots and all this other kind of stuff.
Right. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
I must have I dated myself talking about the cafeteria,
that's
huh,
cool.
brother?
I mean, they do go to the cafeteria. Now they do eat the cafeteria food, but it's not just that food. It's a whole combination of things. And what I'll say is this, brothers and sisters and viewers, that the root of all of this is that our people have to be educated. That's the root of everything that we're talking about. So when we talk about young children, so does food affect the way that the children behave in the classroom? If I drink a 40 ounce, is that going to affect the way that I behave?
Absolutely.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
If I smoke a blunt, right, is that going to affect the way I behave? You say yes, it will. If I do some lines, are you going to say that going to affect? Okay. If I do some fentanyl, right? If I shoot some heroin, right? Whatever I put in me, right? If I stay up, if I stay up for 7 hours playing video games to 3 a.m, right? What if I watch drill music videos from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep? Whatever comes into me, right, is going to do what? It's going to affect me.
Right.
Y'all following me?
Yes.
So the foods that we eat. Now, let me say this, because I got to be real clear. Because we've been teaching, and I say we, the Nation of Islam, have been teaching for the last 90 years on the importance of health and nutrition. A lot of things have changed in America, right?
Yes.
Even the cafeteria food, they have health standards that they have to follow. So it's not like when we went to school.
Right.
I'm taking y'all back. When we got the scoop of rice and stayed in the ice cream scoop and you had to pick it off.
Right.
It's not like that anymore, right? I took y'all back, I know.
Way back.
Right? Like, So they have health standards. Now, it's not the best,
right?
But it's not like the worst either, right? Because the consciousness of the society has been raised to a degree, right? But now the challenge is that our children, like Brother Tony said, they eating flaming hots, like now, later, like it's whatever. It's like from the time they get to school to the time they leave, and lunch is a detour, right? Lunch is a snack, right? Now, but what's the solution? The solution to that is education. Is by teaching them. So when I was a teacher, I would do what is called Black Health Week. So I did everything, right? We did Black Love Week. We did Black Health Week because I'm teaching these Black history facts, right?
Right.
So a school year is 40 weeks long, right? So imagine at the end of those 40 weeks, all the things that were taught, right? And y'all talking about me, Brother Abdul. I'm teaching them, right?
Right.
So I took a whole week and dedicated the Black history fact to Black health, right? For the whole week, right? Then I showed them the movie Super Size Me, right?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Documentary, right?
Right.
So we had health articles, all these. So I'm teaching them, right? Do you think that when I was teaching them, that those students was like, well, Mr. Muhammad, you right. I'm gonna stop going to McDonald's. I'm gonna stop. You think that's what they said?
No.
I'm gonna tell you what. I had a student stand up in the class. I had so many situations. Oh no, Muhammad. No, I can't honor that. I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. Right? Oh, God, this is what I'm gonna do. Right? I'm telling you how the student reacted, and I'm just trying to give him knowledge that's gonna lengthen his life. Now, maybe 7 years ago, maybe longer, that same student who stood up in the class and tried to argue with me with no facts, because Black people are the only people who argue with no facts, right? The Holy Quran says, I'm trying to remember this verse. He said, you are a people who dispute about that which you knew. And how could you dispute about that which you have no knowledge?
Right.
That's
Come
black
on.
folks. We argue about stuff that we know is a fact. You know pork ain't good for you.
Right.
But you gonna argue somebody down about how you still gonna eat pork.
Right.
Right.
So, but this student stood up and argued with me in the classroom, and I'm just trying to teach him to be healthy. He sent me an email. He sent me a message on Facebook maybe 7 years ago. Brother changed his whole diet. He's sending me pictures of fruits and vegetables. And he said that I was the one. I didn't know I was the one that inspired him to change his diet. So the thing about teaching is that if you never put it in, it can never come out.
That's right.
If your mama didn't tell you, boy, stop hanging with them. If your mama didn't put all of this stuff in you that she put in you,
Right.
then it could not come out at the time that it needed to come out.
Right.
The problem with some of us is we're motivated by vanity. A lot of us.
Come on.
So we think that because I said it, that I should see an immediate change because I said it, right? I gave you the knowledge, right? And because I gave you this knowledge, then you should change immediately. And then what happens? When the person don't change immediately,
Come on.
then, man, these Negroes, man, you know, I hope Allah destroy them. Vanity.
No, that's wrong.
But
That's right.
everything in nature takes time to develop.
That's right.
If I planted a seed, right? I plant a seed today, and I come back this afternoon. Man, where the plant? Ain't no plant. Man, make me shit. I'm planting this. Right? every farmer, like the problem is not the seed. The problem is you have unrealistic expectations.
That's right.
Of when the seed is going to germinate.
That's right.
So when I say the solution is education, we should be in the schools teaching our children about nutrition.
Come on.
Right.
Not expecting that they, I'm going to stop eating Flaming Hots tomorrow. Like, come on, man. If you think that, come on, it's just unrealistic.
You drop seeds.
Right.
But when you give them the seed, it's
That's
just in a matter of time. I had so many students come to me talking about they changed the way they ate, you know. But it takes time. And if you want an immediate change, then you're in the wrong line of work because education is not immediate. But they'll come back to you as an adult,
Right.
and be like, man, when you like brother, like you said something from 2018. And I didn't think about that till you said it. And I wasn't thinking like, man, you know, back in 2018, I'm not on this level yet. Man, I'm gonna buy these 2 lapel pins for this brother because, you know, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, I'm gonna be on a show. I wasn't thinking like, was just being a brother, you know.
Right.
So all praise is due to Allah. So we
All
gotta educate our
praise
people.
is
And I'm gonna
due to
say
Allah.
this, and it's not your question, but I see this a lot on social media, and I see us doing it, us in the nation doing it. The sisters go outside with bonnets on their head and flip-flops and the big, you know, with the fur around, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm talking about we Muslims,
Right.
we'll take the video of the sister with the bonnet on her head and the big flip-flops and some boy shorts on walking outside and a bra. And then we'll say somebody like, or what's wrong with these women, right? Or somebody need to do something. Like, we're the ones.
Right.
Don't throw our people under the bus.
Right.
Because they've been made savage by an enemy.
Right.
We're the ones that have the knowledge to civilize them. So if you see sisters with bonnets on in public and big furry flip-flops and boy shorts and a bra, that means we haven't done our job in going out in the community and civilizing our people so they know. When I got to a school, they would sag their pants. When I walked in, they were sagging their pants. When I walked out, they were no longer sagging their pants. And I wasn't fighting people, like beating them up. Like, man, it just wasn't that. The duty of a civilized man, thank you, and woman is to teach civilization to the uncivilized, not post a video talking about how disgusted you are.
Right.
That's right.
Or how, you know, this world coming to an end. When is Allah going? Stop.
Come
we're the
on,
ones
come on.
that need to do something about what we see.
Right.
And we need to civilize our people. So, brother, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
The
Absolutely.
root of what we
And
got to
then
deal
some.
with is education.
Student Minister Abdul.
Yes, sir.
Just very generally, what advice do you have for parents with children who are in public schools right
Man, if your children are in the public food system,
Oh,
that's exactly what it is.
oh.
Then, you know, all of us are in different situations. Everybody can't take their child out. Everybody doesn't have a Muhammad University. Everybody doesn't have homeschool. There's so many different options today, but everybody doesn't have those options. If your children are in the public school system, you need to understand, you need to know that the public school system is designed. If you have a male child specifically, but black children, black and brown children in general, that the school system is designed to put a needle in their brain. What do I mean, needle in the brain? The school system is designed to rob them of their confidence, rob them of their love for themselves. So if you are sending them to the public school and you're not deprogramming them when they come home, then you're doing your children a disservice. Listen, your children, they get in the car and you say, baby, what you learned today? Oh, mom, I ain't learned nothing. And you think they just saying that, you know, it's just a slogan, right? No, they telling you the truth. They didn't learn anything. So you need to go and find out what's going on at that school. Why isn't your child learning anything? Because they're not lying to you. They on their phones, they sleep, they on, you know, doing whatever. They talking to girls, they in the back, whatever, right? Or the teacher got low expectations. If your children are in a public school, then you have to be an active parent for your child, because you have to protect the mind of your child. The greatest thing we have is our children. Right. It's not your 401k. It's not your new car. It's not, it's your children. That's your greatest investment and blessing that you have from Allah, because really your child is you going into the future.
That's right. That's right.
Most of us got messed up in public school. Nah, I'm gonna say most of us, all of us.
I got messed up.
We all got messed up in the public school system.
Absolutely.
So imagine your child going to that same system that's more sophisticated today than it was when we were going to school. Right. And you just gonna leave them out there? Don't do your child like that. Don't do your child like that. I know it. Like I know it. I hear y'all thoughts right now, but I gotta work. I come home. I'm tired. I understand. I'm tired. We all working, right? Right. Listen. We think that the schools shape the children or TV shapes the children. That don't shape your child. The parent has the first crack at the mind of the child. Now, if you don't take advantage of it, Satan is waiting right in the cut. Satan is waiting for you not to take advantage of your position as the parent. He's waiting for you to send them to public school, or waiting for you to sit them in front of television, or waiting for you to just let them be on their phone and you just, as long as they quiet. That is what Satan wants.
That's right.
But you as a parent have the first access to the mind of your child. And all I'm saying is take advantage of it. Right. Because if you don't, it's the law of use. If you don't do it, then Satan will. He's waiting, and he has all the tools to access the mind of your child. You understand?
Yes.
So what are we taught? And I'm talking to the Muslims. To walk your post in a perfect manner, keeping always on the alert, right? So now, does that mean just when we at the mosque? Man, what are we talking about? The mosque is a building, right? The post that you need to walk is your life and the life of your children. And if you walk that post in a perfect manner, then you will prevent any intruder from coming into the mind of your child.
Beautiful teaching.
So they can take them off the straight path. So all praises due to Allah. So for all of us who have to send our children to public school, we have to work with them before they go. You driving them to school, you need to be talking to them. You pick them up, you need to be talking to them. If it's any issue, you need to be at the school, because the public school system is the killing fields of our children. And if you're not involved, then they're going to destroy the mind of your child.
Thank you.
Wow. So, Brother Abdul, what initiatives or changes do you believe that are necessary within the educational system to better serve our Black as well as our brown students?
So one of the things, that's a great question. One of the things, Sister Kalila, is we need more Black educators. I can't speak, excuse me, I can't speak for Miami. I can speak for Chicago. I can speak for Baltimore because I have some information about Baltimore. But in a lot of these major cities, what we've seen is the number of Black educators over the last 20 years has dwindled. In Chicago, it went from 50% of the teachers were Black to today, only 19% of the teachers are Black. And the reason is because there was a concerted effort by Chicago public schools to remove Black teachers from the classroom. Just like there's a concerted effort now to remove Black principals, right? That we're fighting. But so one of the things that needs to change in education is that we need more Black people to go into the field of education. But now, as an educator, right, I didn't understand for a long time why Black children didn't go. I teach children. I talk to them. I say, look, if you go be a teacher, you get a nice salary, you get benefits, right? You work 8-7 months, right? You get the summers off, you get all the holidays, you get a week for spring break, you get 2 weeks for Christmas, right? I'm selling it to them. And you get a full check for that. And they was like, no, Mr. Muhammad, we're not trying to be teachers. We don't want to be no teacher. But I never understood why. And then one day a brother came to me. He had gone to college for a year, right? And he said, I learned 2 things. Well, I learned a lot of things from my students, but this brother shared 2 things with me in particular. He said that that he, and I don't know if he was speaking in general or about him specifically, but in so many words, he said that the reason that he didn't want to go into education is because he had such a hard time in school. And that's when it hit me that Black children hate school. By the time they get to high school, like when they get to 3rd grade, they good, but then they put the needle in the brain, and then the love for school becomes hatred for school, right? So by the time they graduate, they've been totally turned against education. So this brother was like, he wouldn't want to go be a teacher because of all the bad experience that he had in school, right? And then he said, Muhammad, I think they tricking us. Because I inspired him to go to college. He said, man, I think they tricking us because I went to college and it was so easy.
Right.
So he's saying like we being tricked in school. When he went to college, it was so easy for him. So, but that's what was shared with me by a former student. So I think that the bad experiences that we have as Black people in education makes us not want to go into the field of education. When in reality, the experiences are only going to get worse because we don't have any Black people in education.
Well, you know, Brother Abdul, that's a great segue to as we approach the end of this program, Ramadan Mubarak.
The sun is down over here already.
Right.
That's a wonderful.
Yeah, all the viewers, they drinking and eating, watching this.
Right. Enjoy.
Right. Like, man, I'm wondering why y'all still talking.
You know, speaking of Black teachers, right, and the need for them. You know, you got Black teachers that are in the schools right now, frustrated or whatever it is they're going through. Some love being able to go to work and not have to do nothing, right? And then you got some that feel like they struggling every day and they ain't getting nothing done. What advice would you give to aspiring Black educators who want to make a similar impact in their communities like what you did?
So what I would say is the motive, right? When you want to accomplish something, the motive behind your reason for going into it is going to determine whether or not you will stick with it, right? So anybody can say, look, you know, I want to be married, you know, I want to be in love, right? And as long as you think love is this little stuff that you saw on Netflix, right? And you know, you running from the responsibility that comes with love, right? You just
Right.
want the feeling of love,
That's not love.
but don't want to accept the responsibility
Come on.
that comes with love, right?
Right.
Then you really, so then when the difficult time comes, because in everybody's life, whether you are in a relationship or not in a relationship, a difficult time is going to come in your life.
Mhm.
Are you with me?
Yes.
sir.
And when the difficult time comes, if you decide to run, right,
Mm-mm.
then the difficulty tested your motive to see, was your motive really pure?
My
Mm.
Are
God.
y'all following me?
Yes.
So
Followed.
when we come into education
Come on.
as teachers,
Mhm.
what is the motive of the educator?
Mm.
Because your motive is going to determine your level of success.
Mhm.
If your motive is, I'm gonna tell you what happened to me when I was a student at Southern University. This is before they tried to kick me out of the program, before I kicked that Ku Klux Klan man. When I was in my methods class at Southern University, and my professor, Dr. Klein Peter, who was one of my favorite professors, brought in 2 guest speakers. I'm in the back of the classroom, and the 2 black guest speakers, one is a principal and one is an assistant principal. And the sister who is the assistant principal said, you know, they're trying to encourage us to be in education. She said, yeah, I'm making $80,000 a year, and John, or whatever his name is making 95. And so their pitch to us
Was money.
was money. So if your motive is money, when Ray, Man, Tyrone, Pookie, Clarence, Tasha, Latasha, Nequa, Fuchsia, Nequa, Unique, Monique, when all of them come into the classroom at the same time, and then they start to do what they do, if your motive was money, Tasha, Keisha, Ray, Man, Tyrone, Clarence, right? Pookie, they're going to test your motive.
That sure is.
right.
And they're not going to be nice, right?
That's right.
So now, those whose motive is money, you know, what they told us at Southern, look, see what you do. You teach, this is what she said. You teach for a few years, then you jump into administration, and that's where all the money is at. This is what they telling college students. This is what I heard as a college student. So her motive was money, right? If your motive is anything other than the love for Black children,
Come on.
then your motive is not pure. If your motive is not that that my mission when I walk into the door of the classroom or the school is to raise my community, Black, brown, red, yellow, and even white folks. I'm not teaching white folks, but I'm just saying in general.
Right.
Yes, sir.
If your motive, like, let me go back, and I know we're gonna end. It is Ramadan, brothers and sisters, so I gotta end. If you go back to the one-room schoolhouses and the inferior education that Black people received and the lack of resources, how were those educators able to produce the Black middle class a generation later? How? They didn't have the resources, they didn't have the money, they didn't have all that they needed, but those educators produced the Black middle class a generation later. It is because they walked in the door with the mind that what I'm doing is going to lift the whole race of people. The parents sent their child to school. I'm sending you here, and what they're doing is going to lift the whole race. So we were all on board. We were all on the same page. The motive was for Black people to be lifted out of the condition that Black people were in. So if you don't have that love, then when they come in and test your motive, then you're gonna go to something else. And what happens is, and I'm gonna say this real quick, people get burned out, right?
Right.
And so then they cope, and they cope by, oh, I'm just letting them come in here, and I'm talking about Black folks. And the education is no longer taking place. So you have different people on different places along that spectrum. But if you're coming into education, you really want to educate Black children, then your motive in Black and brown children, then your motive has to be that what I'm doing is going to lift the entire race of people, get our people out of this condition, because only education can do it. Money can't do it. Women can't do it. Cars can't do it. Jets can't do it. People like I think behind the scenes, we were talking about P. Diddy. He got a whole bunch of money, but he's in a whole bunch of trouble, right?
Right.
And he's not the only one. You have people that made millions of dollars that lost every penny, right? What are we talking about? The thing that needs to change is not money, not cars. The things that needs to change is the quality of education in our community. And that is what will lift us out of the condition we're in. It'll lift us from eating the bad foods. It'll lift us from making the bad decisions. It'll lift us from living the lifestyle that's destroying us, and it'll transform our community. Proper education. And this is why, and I'm done, I am a target and have been a target for the last 25 years in Chicago public schools, because I provided Black children and brown children with the proper education that they deserve.
Praises be to Allah.
All praises due to Allah.
Justice for our brother.
Justice.
Justice for Brother Abdul Muhammad. Man, thank you so much, brother, for that answer.
Due to Allah.
Praise
Yeah.
be to Allah. So, Brother Abdul, our next segment is the Knowledge Corner. And the Knowledge Corner, the Knowledge Corner is you gain knowledge, you gain power. So, with that being said, our Knowledge Corner segment will be public school systems has been created by the enemy, by the minister. So I have a small clip that I'm going to show in regards to what the minister is pretty much saying about education. And, you know, we're going to start this clip right now.
Have you ever studied why? Do you think they're stupid? Oh, some of us that have our degrees might say, these stupid young people quitting school. But let me ask you a question. What has school done for you? I'm not knocking you. I'm asking a question. Because if your degree has not made you productive, then it hasn't served you well. Am I making sense? So you have to learn what is requisite knowledge. What is proper knowledge? Knowledge that suffices for the time and the circumstance that we have arrived at. That's the knowledge that you have to get. And unfortunately, it's not in the school. These schools have been created by the enemy to serve the enemy. You can get something out of it. But who wants to go to a restaurant and in the kitchen is dirty? It's fecal matter from mice and rats, and the service is bad. Well, that's what the schools are. It's from a dying educational system based on white supremacy. That's finished. That is finished. Mr. Finnegan, what are we gonna do? You create a system of education. You're not stupid people. You just act that way. But a leader will arise to say, away with this, and set down a new educational paradigm that is fit for the time in which we live.
Praises be to Allah. That is our minister. Shout out to Supreme Wisdom Educational System, who's always teaching our Black students. That was actually something that they created. And you can always go to their website, which is www.supremewisdomeducationalcenter.org. All right. And we're going to close this segment out. But before we close this segment out, Brother Tony,
Yes.
what shall we do?
We need to support. We need to support. I'm not gonna start singing the song. Look, we need to support. And we're here for the cotton from out of the kindness of our hearts, and we have of love for this. We want to serve the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We want to serve the Nation of Islam. We want to serve our people. We want to serve our student regional minister who assembled us to do this great and mighty task. But of course, it's a labor of love. However, there are costs attached to bringing quality programming to you, the viewing audience. And if you, out of the kindness of your heart, if you could donate, it doesn't have to be, $10,000. Although if you want to donate $10,000, we will not send it back.
No.
We appreciate anything that you're able to give. Here tonight, it could be a couple of dollars. It could be $5. We could sing the song.
We don't want to.
Yeah, no.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Put 5 on it. Don't sing the rest of the song. Put something on it so that we could continue bringing to you quality programming as we have been, and as we will strive. And inshallah, God willing, we will continue to do so as the 7th Region Coalition to help save lives. We're very grateful for whatever you're able to give tonight. May Allah God continue to bless you.
All right. Brother Abdullah, I would love to hear your closing remarks for the show.
Well, I would like to thank you all for having me on the show. Thank my brother, Student Minister Tony Muhammad, and brother, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, and all your viewers. I would like to thank you all. And definitely, brothers and sisters, if you have not gone on the website, justiceforabdulmuhammad.com,
yes.
Please go on the website. There is a petition on that website. You can sign the petition. You can send an email to the mayor. We attempted many times to have a meeting with the mayor. It hasn't happened yet, but you can send an email to the mayor right from the website. And if you choose to make a donation, there is a GoFundMe if you choose to make a donation on that website as well. So that's justiceforabdulmuhammad.com. We would like your support. I definitely appreciate your time. And thank you all once again. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem. And we're also going to be putting that information on our website as well. So please stay tuned to our website. We will be adding that information to our website, and it's actually in the chat box. So please, dear listeners, go to the website, sign the petition, donate to our brother. Listen,
we're involved.
Hey, lawyers ain't free.
Not at all.
I see on there, and then you got brother Ben Crump is on there. Is that your attorney, brother Abdul?
Well, brother Saad is my attorney.
Whoa!
And I'll just do another public service announcement. I don't know if you were at the believers meeting when our brother was killed in Michigan.
Yes, sir.
And they went to the court.
Brother Robert.
And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about when they went to court, and Brother Saad had to present arguments. And he said that he's God's attorney, right? I don't know if y'all remember that, but that's what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said about Brother Saad. So he's my attorney too. He's God's attorney, but he's also my attorney.
Praises be to
That's a good attorney to have, brother.
Right, the best attorney.
Brother Attorney Crump is working with us, but Brother Saad is my attorney. So all praises due to Allah.
All praises.
Brother Abdul, I know we have to close out, but my understanding that the court case has to do with not just injustice towards you, but other Black principals that have experienced similar situations.
So what happened is when I stood up, there were other Black principals that stood up as well, because something similar happened to them. But we don't have a class action case.
Okay.
Everybody has their own individual case based on what happened to them. But so that's how that happened. So when I stood up, then you know how it happens. And this has been happening for a long time in Chicago. They've been targeting Black people, Black educators, Black men, Black administrators. They've been doing this for the last 30 years.
Praises be to Allah.
May Allah grant you great success in your
All
court.
praise is due to Allah. The victory is already ours,
Listen.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so, brothers and sisters, I gotta say this. I'm sorry. I know it's Ramadan. Because I have to bear witness to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When they were writing the article for the Final Call newspaper where I was on the cover, Brother
right.
Tory, who wrote the article, I said, brother, you could name the article, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. That's what I told him.
Right.
And the reason I told him that is because from the beginning of this fight, the beginning, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was right there from the very beginning. And one of the greatest blessing that has come out of this entire, because this is a trial for me and my family.
Right.
But the greatest blessing that has come out of this severe trial for me and my family is that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been in constant communication with me since the very beginning. I'm talking about calling me on the phone. When I was on the cover of the Final Call, he just called me on the phone and said, "Assalamu alaikum, brother." I'm like, "Wa alaikum salam." I just wanted to thank you for being on the cover of the Final Call newspaper.
My God.
And of course, I'm floored, but the greatest blessing out of all of this, because it has been a severe trial for me and my family.
Sure.
But the greatest blessing is that I've been able to get direct guidance and instructions, divine guidance and divine instructions from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I don't ever want anybody to think, anybody who's going through something difficult in your life, never think that Allah, Master Farad Muhammad, does not care about you.
That's right. Come on.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad does not care about you.
Yes.
That the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan does not care. Do never allow that to come into your mind, because it's not true. And if you start to think like that, perish those thoughts.
Yes.
Because Allah, Master Farad Muhammad, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they love us. And all I can do is just bear witness to this man's love. So I gotta say that, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying it.
All praise.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just swallowed some more. That's okay. That was it. I just swallowed. So
praises be to Allah. Would Brother Philip close us out, brother?
So many people tune in and they wonder what they're watching. We are not a clique. We are not a crew. We are not even an organization, but we are what we call the 7th Region Coalition.